Maybe you've spent the last few years of your life spending money on countless books and courses that promise to change your life. But in the end, they only serve to fool yourself into thinking you were doing something useful, when in reality, you were just spending all your time playing video games and eating fast food. Or maybe you even started a project full of motivation, hit the gym, launched a business, but couldn't maintain the consistency needed to achieve success. Your bad habits from the past kept holding you hostage. You are what I like to call a thinker. You spend all your time thinking about doing something, learning everything about that amazing thing, but in the end, you do almost nothing. The problem is, to evolve in life, you need to become a doer. By clicking on this video, maybe you're looking for a secret magical solution. Many people, when they want to transform their lives, fall in love with the idea of escaping to a cabin in the mountains, isolating themselves from the world, and following 5 steps that are supposedly going to turn them into a brand new version of themselves. And after a month, they return to their lives as unrecognizable superior versions of themselves, applauded by everyone around them. That would all be fantastic if I wanted to sell you a course that, in reality, wouldn't solve any real problems in your life. But there are indeed many benefits to disappearing for a while and focusing on yourself and your dreams. And that's what I want to bring to you in this video. A realistic perspective, based on science and my own experiences, on what you can actually expect when you disappear and focus on yourself. That's why this video will be divided into 3 parts. How disappearing can actually help you. What to do while you're growing in silence. How to reappear and return to your life. All this mystical stuff, you know. The idea that if you go to an isolated cabin, you'll suddenly return as a new person. Or the belief that if you tell someone your plans, they'll feel jealous. And that jealousy will create negative energy that will stop you from growing. If that's working for you, keep going. Now, if someone is selling you a course and charging you money to shield you from people's negative energy, maybe it's time to rethink what you're consuming on the internet. I'm here to give you a grounded perspective on what you can truly expect from all of this. The first thing you need to ask yourself is, who are you changing your life for? Who do you want to be? Because in reality, that's the best thing about life. You can be whoever you want to be. So, my first piece of advice for you is, don't isolate yourself. Don't wait to engage with society only when you become this improved, perfect version of yourself. You're already great as you are now. Spend time with the people you care about. Today, I know it might seem silly, but you never know what tomorrow holds. Of course, keep improving whatever you want to improve about yourself that's completely healthy. But please don't let this idea of personal development turn into hatred for who you are in the present, loving only a future version of yourself, the one everyone will idolize. The reality is that your opinion is the only one that truly matters when you're creating something that is yours. Whether it's a YouTube channel like I'm doing, an Instagram profile, a small shop, a business, a newsletter, anything. Yes, you need to create something that has a market that's obvious, but it also has to be something that makes you happy. There's no point in listening to the opinions of your friends or relatives who aren't your target audience. I'm not saying that my parents' or my grandmother's opinions don't matter, for example. But let's be honest, what my grandma thinks about my video is far less relevant than the data I get from the platforms about my actual audience. That doesn't mean her opinion is worthless, of course it matters. But what matters much more to me is touching the hearts of and sharing knowledge with the younger generation people who actually face the problems I discuss on my channel rather than my grandma, who hardly deals with any of these issues. So, shut up. I know the urge to tell everyone about the big changes you're going to make in your life is overwhelming. You want to announce that you'll start hitting the gym, reading tons of books, and becoming a new person, and that's when you fall into the first trap. You start thinking, man, it would be so cool to be this person. You imagine a stronger version of yourself, a more intellectual version, and then instead of taking action in the present, you start falling in love with this future projection. The problem is that announcing your plans to people can be destructive. Imagine this. You tell someone all your goals, and they respond with something like, "Good luck keeping that up, buddy." At this point, you have two options. You feel completely unmotivated and give up before even starting your journey. You get insanely pissed off and think, you know what? I'm going to prove this idiot wrong. So you start hitting the gym, reading tons of books, and staying consistent just to prove everyone wrong. But only for a short time. Why? Because are you doing this for yourself or for others? The truth is, until change in your life comes from intrinsic motivation, until you decide to change for your own satisfaction, to become who you truly want to be, you won't be able to maintain it. But there's another scenario. Imagine that people love your plans. You tell them and they give you tons of encouragement. Wow, congratulations, man, that's awesome. You're going to change your life. I can't wait to see your future self. This, in reality, is the worst-case scenario. If people respond like this, it makes you feel happy, that warm feeling inside. You get a bunch of praise for doing absolutely nothing. Think about it. You were generously rewarded for taking no action at all. What do you think that signals to your brain? All right, but then, what's the solution? Actually, the solution is pretty simple. If you're really excited and pumped about this big change you want to make in your life, keep it to yourself. Use that energy, that willpower, to actually make it happen, and let the results of your consistency be discovered rather than announced. As Seneca once said, the secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Take me, for example, with this YouTube channel. Hardly anyone knows about it. My parents see me recording at home sometimes. My sister and brother-in-law know. My girlfriend does too. Aside from them, just 3 other friends who either want to create content online or already do. Now my uncles? No idea. My grandma? Clueless. My co-workers? Not a chance. Disappearing and growing in silence was the best decision for me. You're able to focus much more on your goals. You feel way less external pressure about what you're doing or what you should be doing. And most importantly, you let the results speak for themselves. At the end of the day, you'll be judged by what you've achieved, not by what you planned. Planning, everybody does that. Executing, now that's a whole different story. Part 2. What to do while you're growing in silence. The first step is planning. And here I have a book recommendation that I consider essential. Essentialism. This book served as the foundation for a lot of what I'll be talking about in this video. If you want to buy it, there's a link in the description. Besides getting a discount, you'll also be supporting the channel. The key point in planning is defining your priorities. They need to be few because there's no point in trying to focus on too many things at once. Of course, you can have multiple goals in life, but in specific time blocks, you'll need to focus more on one thing at the expense of the others. You can't expect to learn German, lose 20 pounds, get an MBA, and do all of this simultaneously in just 2 months. It just doesn't work. Focusing on one primary goal will help you progress much faster, which in turn will keep you motivated to keep going. Now, besides these short-term goals, you also need a bigger vision of who you want to be in the future. Think in terms of 5 to 10 years. When you set a macro goal for that time frame, you create a new rule for your life. This rule will shape your behavior. It's like a reserved sign at a restaurant. You don't sit at that table unless you're some kind of crazy psychopath. Basically, you're reserving a block of time in your life for your future self. That doesn't mean you should drop everything and go live in a remote cabin, but it does mean you'll have to prioritize. If you worked hard on Thursday, worked hard on Friday, and invested in your personal project on Saturday morning, then yes, you can go to that birthday party on Saturday night and enjoy yourself. Whenever you feel like you're giving up something enjoyable, don't think of it as a sacrifice. Think of it as honoring a commitment to yourself. You need to learn to say no because you don't have to subject yourself to everything people expect you to do. You can do anything, but you can't do everything. As the author of Essentialism says, if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. Step 2, start before you're ready. The truth is, you'll never feel ready to start something new. You don't need new sneakers to work out. You don't need a perfect note-taking system to start studying. You don't need to remember exactly what that fitness guru said in a TikTok video. What you really need is less information and more action. Transformation always happens through action, so prove to yourself that you're capable regardless of external conditions. If it's cold, do it. If it's hot, do it. If you slept poorly, do it. If you're not in the best mood, do it. All of these factors matter, but they're not requirements for you to take action. Start now and fine-tune the details along the way. The problem is, from a young age, we're trained to be thinkers and learners. In school, you listen to the teacher, take notes, and think. Elementary school, high school, college, it's always the same cycle. And then as adults, we keep this pattern going. I'll just learn a little more before starting my project. I'll just watch one more recipe before starting my diet. I'll just study this topic a bit more before taking action. We learn, but we don't do. Remember that famous quote, "Knowledge is power." Yes, but only if you do something with it. Otherwise, it's just another fun fact to throw into a bar conversation. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act, but a habit. Step 3. Reprogram your mind. Nowadays, it's common to see people constantly comparing themselves to others, whether it's in their career, fame, wealth, or anything else. The secret to staying motivated is to compare yourself only to your past self. That's how you'll truly see your progress and development. Plus, this mindset helps you appreciate the small wins, which are crucial in the beginning. When you're just starting out, everything is harder. For me, going from 0 to 10 was way more difficult than going from 50 to 100, and going from 100 to 1000 was way easier than going from 0 to 50. The beginning is always the hardest part, but growth is exponential. Another mental shift you'll need to make is in your long-term planning. In a 5 to 10-year plan, it's normal to adjust your course. New opportunities, ones you never even imagined, will appear along the way. Or unexpected setbacks might force you to delay or completely change your path. And that's why you shouldn't share your plans with everyone. Changing your plan is frustrating enough on its own, but it's even worse when you have to deal with outside pressure and judgment over your choices. I know it's not easy, but there's one thing I won't sell you on this channel: cheap illusions. You won't achieve your dreams just by disappearing and growing in silence. This isn't some magic formula. This isn't some ancient secret that guarantees success, but it is a way to focus on what truly matters. Because any significant change in your life starts with the hardest part, taking the first step. But it doesn't stop there. Real change doesn't happen overnight. It comes from daily dedication, a silent commitment to your goals, and the courage to face your failures and learn from them. As you continue your journey, celebrate every small victory, every bit of progress, no matter how small it seems. Stay true to your purpose, not to prove anything to others, but to become the best version of yourself. And how do you reappear? That's the interesting part. Disappearing and focusing on yourself isn't an escape. It's a return to what truly matters. Your essence, your dreams, your own definition of success. That's how you truly show up for the person who matters most, you. So go ahead, disappear, grow in silence, and over time you'll shine so brightly that even without seeking recognition, the entire world won't be able to ignore you anymore. If you enjoyed this video and found the topic interesting, check out the book Essentialism. The link is in the description. Thank you so much to everyone who watched until the end. Much love, a big hug, and see you next time. Bye.